Hey, what's going on, folks? Thanks for joining us for another special Lunch and Learn here with Traffic Sales and Profit. I am TSP founder Lamar Tyler, creator again of Traffic Sales and Profit. We help entrepreneurs do three things: drive more traffic, convert more sales, and grow the amount of profit in your business. So every week, if you didn't know, we bring a special entrepreneur to the forefront here to share with you about their native genius, to share with you about amazing things they have going on. More importantly, just sharing different pieces of business and entrepreneurship they can pour into your life. Today is no different. We'll do that. So I got a very special guest I'm going to bring forward in 1 minute. But before I do, guys, I want you to let me know who's in the room. So I want you to drop your name. What is your name? What is your business, right? And where you're from? What is your name? What is your business? Where you're from? Drop that into the comments. We'll give you a second to do that. And then we'll get started. I will bring our special guest in to the actual conversation. All right. So let me do that. And I'm excited, guys. If you guys didn't know, today's entrepreneur is a company I actually support. Just this past weekend, I took a trip, right, to see some other TSP fam down in Austin. And I had her product with me, right? So I'm gonna talk about that in a second as you guys come on. But I had her actual product with me, so that just goes to show I don't like to just talk about this stuff, y'all. I like to support it. I like to be down with it as we kind of go. So I see some folks in the comments. All right. Thanks for joining again. If you're just joining again, right, Traffic Sales and Profit is our Lunch and Learn. We want you to drop your name, the name of your business, right, and where you're from. The name, your name of your business, and where you're from down into the comments. What's going on, Jacqueline? Thanks for joining, and let us know who's here. All right. So without further ado, right, while you guys are still doing that, I'm going to talk about today's special guest. Now, today's special guest, guys, is a very good friend of mine. She is Shannette Prince. She is a connector, business owner, and mother of two brilliant Black boys, right? We'll hear a little bit more about that in a second. Shannette works with Emancipation Economic Development Council, which is a community development organization that supports the revitalization and preservation efforts of the historic Third Ward neighborhood in Houston, Texas. What's up to Houston? Her main venture is Africa on My Back, a social enterprise that helps men and women connect to African culture by purchasing fair trade, handcrafted African print backpacks. Each backpack sold supports study abroad opportunities for young Black men while simultaneously helping to grow small business and create jobs in Ghana, West Africa. If that isn't enough, the mompreneur is raising a 16-year-old and 10-year-old. Shannette is also a graduate of Texas Southern University and Florida A&M University. What's up, FAMU? She has worked in the journalism industry as a television news producer and writer, as well as in fund development and public relations. Guys, please help me welcome to TSP Lunch and Learn, Miss Shannette Prince. What's going on, Shannette?
Hello. Hi, y'all.
Hey, Shannette, I'm excited to have you on today. What's up, Andrea? Got a lot of folks in the actual chat, right? She says shout out to her neighborhood and city. You know, Andrea, I forgot you were from Houston, right? She got some Houston support on the actual Lunch and Learn today. So what's going on? I'm excited to have you. Thank you for joining me, first of all.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. So today we're talking about why Black-owned businesses should support a social cause, right? Yeah. And just that topic alone, to me, it makes sense. But if somebody is, you know, in business, right, and they're kind of doing this thing and working around it, and they're running a Black-owned business, like why should this be something that's actually important to them?
Yeah, great question. So I have these earrings on. I don't know if you all can see them very clearly. But these are from Shape Community Center that's here in Third Ward. And on the earrings, it says, I am because we are, therefore I am. There is no me without you. There is no you without me. And so just that principle alone is why Black businesses should be supporting social causes, especially when it comes to Black communities. So I worked for nonprofits for 10 years in my career. And I did a lot of community engagement, communications, and I worked in the fund development side, which is fundraising. And what I will tell you is that there is need in our communities, and there are organizations that are working to make sure that things happen. Grassroots organizations, they don't have big budgets, right? And so the change sometimes that we want to see in our communities and with different organizations, it doesn't happen because there's just no money, right? So if you're going to a big foundation and your staff, it's only 3 of y'all, and y'all killing it, right? You're making the impact, but you're not making the impact that they want to see at scale. They won't give you the money, right? And so as a business owner, right, we are we have those resources, and I think that we can start to fund our own grassroots organizations. I think about even like with Black Lives Matter, they a lot of their funding came from I can't remember, it's either the Koch brothers or it was the Soros. But those are white men, right, who have great hearts, but if they decided today that they didn't like the direction that those organizations were going in, the movement would die because of the lack of funding, right? And so I think that that's one of the things that we have to always be cognizant of is if we want to see change in our communities, we have to fund that. And it's great. It would be great if a small business, a Black owned business has decided that, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm in business, right, to make a profit. And I'm going to make sure that I'm making an impact as well.
I love that, right? So y'all make sure you caught that last piece, right? In business to make a profit, but also making sure we're making an impact. And I think that's one of the things that we really try to stress that we're all about with TSP, Traffic Sales and Profit. Now, Shannette, one of the reasons I brought you on is because this is not just a topic you talk about. This is something that you actually do in your business because you are a CEO, you have your own company. Tell us a little bit about your company, Africa on My Back, and then also about how you actually walk this out in your life every day with your business.
Absolutely. So Africa on My Back, as you mentioned, it's a social enterprise, and we fund study abroad opportunities for brilliant Black boys. And so we're funding those opportunities for them, but all of our products are made in Ghana, West Africa. We work with small businesses there to make the products. So we're growing their businesses at the same time, providing an opportunity for Black boys to go and see the world. And so the Brilliant Black Boy Initiative is one that's really near and dear to my heart, right? I think without the Brilliant Black Boy Initiative, there would be no Africa on My Back, which is really crazy. So when I started the business 2 years ago, it was after traveling to Ghana and seeing just the vastness of the country and all of the resources that those business owners had. And then 6 months later, I brought my son, and seeing the impact of him being in another country, I had to do something, right? Like I said, I worked in nonprofit, and a lot of people will go to the continent of Africa and they start these nonprofits, right? They want to feed the children. They're doing all of these things. I know, having worked in nonprofit, that people don't need a handout. People need to be empowered to change their lives. So why do I need to start a nonprofit in Africa when really there are already makers and artisans that have products that my people here in America want? So why not just buy from them, right? Keep their businesses going, and at the same time, make sure that other boys are able to travel out of the country. And so that's kind of like the gist of it. But the Brilliant Black Boy Initiative is just that. I call my sons Brilliant Black Boys. I started calling them that right around the time that Trayvon Martin was shot and killed. We were living in Florida at the time, and about 30 minutes away from Sanford, Florida, which is where he was shot and killed. We marched, we were out there, signs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then after he got killed, then Tamar Rice, then Mike Brown, then the list went on and on and on. And having worked in a school district so in the news, you have this negative connotation that's associated with boys. And then in the schools, sometimes there's this negative connotation with boys where they're underserved, they're under-resourced, they're at risk. Everything is negative. So I wanted to change the narrative. And I said, I'm going to start with my boys. I started calling them Brilliant Black Boys. And so from me calling them Brilliant Black Boys, right, everybody else that was on social media that saw that's how they started to address them, right? And so when I took my son to Ghana, I wanted to make sure that not only was he able to have that experience where I'm calling him a brilliant Black boy every day, I am also making sure that he can see the world and he becomes a global citizen. But I'm making sure that other boys that he interacts with, they have the same opportunity, right? I don't think that I could live this life and only look out for me and mine, right? Like, I think that we're all interconnected. And so the boys that he comes in contact with, they need that same love and care. They need that same affirmation and validation. And so, our business was started to make sure that they get that.
I love it, guys. So if you're watching, if you joined us late, right, you're engaged in this conversation, but wondering, all right, what's going on? Hey, my name is Lamar Tyler, again, founder of Traffic Sales and Profit. I'm here today with Shannette Prince. She's the CEO and founder of Africa on My Back, and we're talking about why Black-owned businesses should support a social cause. And just now, she was actually telling us about her own business and the social cause attached with it. and how it really was sparked from her own family and from her own children, which I love. What was the impact on your son of Ghana? Like what how did that impact him or affect him or change him?
You know what? When Isaiah went, he was 14. And when he got there, he immediately went into like this awestruck, right? Because I think on TV, you think of Africa and you're like, you're going to be in the woods somewhere. You're not going to be able to eat. But when he got there and we stayed in a hostel with people from around the world, and there was Wi-Fi and there was electricity, he mystified the notion that Africa is this poor, desolate place, right? I saw him try to learn a new language, right? We were there for 10 days. And within those first 2 days, he was talking to me in a different language. I saw him gravitate towards the food that was there, so it wasn't just, hamburgers and French fries. That's not what we have over there. But he was eating goat, and he was, eating fufu and jollof rice. And then when we went to the University of Ghana, I think that really did it for him, alongside of us going to the slave dungeons. But he went to the University of Ghana and he saw that those students over there in college, but they also play basketball. Like, these guys are just like me. You know what I'm saying? They're just like me. We went to the slave dungeons, and I'll never forget, we stayed in a little not hotel, but there's a sister there that has some property. We stayed on her property, and we were right on the Atlantic. And so when you go to Elmina's slave dungeon, they tell you about, those enslaved Africans that jumped off the boat, or the ones who, they left the continent through the Atlantic. Isaiah was so scared to get in the water because, like I said, we were on the Atlantic. And from that experience, I gathered that he understood what was going on, right? Like, he understood that there was a transatlantic slave trade, right? And I'm standing in the spot where my ancestors stood when they left this continent for the last time, right? And then to come to the United States, to come back home and say, okay, and this is where they ended up, right? And I am a direct descendant of all of that. So the boy, he's outgoing, right? Like, he's extremely confident now. He is ready and willing to tell his story. He'll get on camera and talk about the continent. We went to DC this summer, and he went to the African-American Smithsonian. Like, he came back and was ready to talk to the media about that. He's just, his personality, I can't say enough about him. He's not the teenager that's, shy and doesn't want to talk to adults. No, Isaiah is bubbly and full of life now. And I think that it was that trip that was like, there's so much world out there for me to see, right? Yeah. Like, there's a whole continent with people who look like me and they're doing great things, right? Like, I got it.
And I think that talks about the importance, like you talk about, right, where you had this business and you even had an experience with your children, but to come back and say, okay, I want other Black boys to have the same experience. And that talks, I think, like, just underscores the need of what you talked about before, about why it's important to give back. When we look at, okay, how can we not just impact our own families, but impact the families of those around us, so we can have a community and then a national and global reach and impact as well. So yeah. I love that. Now, if somebody is listening and they said, okay, I love what she's done with Africa on My Back. I love her Brilliant Black Boys initiative and how she's going to take these, young Black men to study abroad in West Africa. Like, how can I get started? How can I get connected with local organizations? What would you say to somebody that's kind of wondering that right now?
You know what? I would say there are a couple of ways, right? You can do it the grassroots way and just Google like nonprofits in whatever town that you're in, and things will pop up. There are also community centers in every city that nonprofits are running out of community centers, or they come and do programming in community centers. That's another way. There's also the United Way. Each city has a United Way. You can peruse their website for organizations. GuideStar, which is it's a website that you can go on to and see the financials of organizations, right? So you can type in an organization's name, pull up key staff and their financials to make sure that they're, fiscally sound. Charity Navigator, which rates nonprofits based off of the programming and, again, their financials. So there are several different ways, and those are just a few.
I love it, guys. So that's how you kind of get started. Those give you some kind of seeds, some good runway to kind of get started connecting with organizations, find people you can connect with so we can start to get back into our communities, guys. Again, if you just joined us, I'm with Shannette Prince, CEO and founder of Africa on My Back. She's talking about how Black-owned or why Black-owned businesses support a social cause. We're talking about her company, Africa on My Back, and the Brilliant Black Boys Initiative that she is spearheading to provide study abroad opportunities through the sales of her actual bags and Africa on My Back products, which I think I see a few in the background.
Yeah.
I think I spy a few in the background, right? But being able to kind of give a portion of those proceeds to something larger than herself or even her own family to support a cause that's bigger than her, so that other young Black men can have the same experience, right, that her own son had, and hopefully just be opened up to an entirely different world, just like her son was. All right, guys, you got questions, go ahead and drop them into the comments. While we're doing that, I want to ask you the last thing, right? So when it comes, right, I go to one of these websites, I look and find an organization, and I think you already told me, right? So when it comes to vetting an organization, did you just mention like a second ago there's a way to kind of vet them?
Yeah, there is. So Charity Navigator is another website where you can go and they rank nonprofits based on financials, program growth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Another way to do that is you want to make sure that the mission of the organization aligns with your values and maybe even like your business, right? So other ways, you're looking for growth in the organization. If an organization's been around 20 years and you can't find anything that they've impacted, right? That's probably not the organization. Or you know what, I take that back, because maybe they need you to come in and undergird them. And just knowing that when I say give back, giving back doesn't always just mean, of your money. That's your time. You know what I'm saying? That's your talent. So if your company is doing communications and marketing, you don't have to give money. Maybe it's creating a PR marketing strategy for that nonprofit so that they do look a little bit more professional. Maybe it's setting up a website for them. So it's not always in the form of money. It's, sitting on boards. If you are a financial company, sitting on boards and making sure that these organizations are fiscally sound, because that's the other thing. You're working with small nonprofits, right? We tend to gravitate towards small nonprofits because we want to make a huge impact. You have to understand that these nonprofits are doing everything just like a small business, right? It's similar to a small business. You just have a different tax code. Right. So the CEO or the executive director of this nonprofit is taking out the trash, doing the accounting, they're speaking, running program, they're doing all of it, and so if you do finances, you come in and say, hey, let me just look at the books because I want to make sure that you are fiscally sound. So when you go and look for grants from larger foundations, your paperwork and your finances and your reporting is in place. You just help them out a ton, right? Because you're giving them something in kind. So, yeah. There are several different ways that you can help.
I love it. And you actually answered my next question was about versus large versus small nonprofits. I think a lot of times when people think of nonprofits, they're thinking of these kind of big kind of name brand organizations. A lot of those organizations, may be funded to hundreds of millions of dollars, and it may be hard getting through the door or hard making substantive change, like you talked about, maybe connected with a smaller organization where they can kind of use you and you can see the direct impact of your work a lot clearer.
Oh yeah, that's most important. Yeah,
I love that. Okay, so I did want to mention, guys, like I said, if you got questions, drop me down below. I did want to mention that you have a special offer for our audience today, right?
Yes, I do. We're doing $5 off any product on our website today, and the code is TSP5OFF. So TSP, the number 5, OFF. That is good today and tomorrow. But yeah, we'll be bringing in some new products soon. So we want to make sure that you get your first taste of Africa on My Back, whether it be a backpack, a fanny pack. We have some purses and t-shirts, but yeah, use that offer and get your backpack so you can walk around Africa on My Back.
I love it. And there you go, guys. We just dropped that into the comments. We'll pin that to the post. Like I said, I highly, recommend the products. I actually got a backpack. Took a trip to Austin this weekend. Went to my first University of Texas game. There we go, right? Went to my first University of Texas game. I had my backpack with me. I traveled with it. Posted on Instagram so everybody can kind of see it. But yeah, highly recommend it, guys. And like I said, just an amazing organization, amazing social impact that they're having and going to continue to have over the next few years as the business kind of grows and expands. So I want you guys to go to the website right now, www.africaonmyback.com. Use the promo code if you so please. And remember that, hey, this purchase that you're making, not only will you look fly, not only will you feel good, not only will you be able to carry Africa on my back, but it's supporting the Brilliant Black Boys Initiative, which is going to help young Black men with study abroad opportunities in Africa. And right, as a tool for, it's also helping trade and commerce in Ghana, where the actual bags actually come from and are sourced from. So, I mean, let me ask you real quick, Shannette. Mm-hmm. Did you ever imagine you'd be doing something like this years ago? Did you say all right, I don't know what it'll be, but I know I got something like that in me, or did it just arrive at this place?
So I remember working in nonprofit, and I remember telling my manager in my last position, I was like, I want to go into corporate social responsibility, right? And so that is just like working for a for-profit company who has a social arm, right? And so I said, it's going to be tough getting into those doors, working for one of the big name stores, who they have hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars that they disperse to people.
Yes,
But again, they typically disperse to those well-established nonprofits who are already, they've been up and going. And it's normally around education. And so I said, when I thought about starting a small business, I was like, well, I can create my own corporate social responsibility arm. And so that's what it was. And I think about it, and it's like, okay, I kind of spoke this into existence. I said that I wanted to work in corporate social responsibility. And here I am. I've created a company that has a corporate social responsibility arm of it. So I'm loving it. I'm excited about the impact that we're going to have. And while we were not able to take boys to Ghana this past year, we took 240 boys to see Black Panther. We did a private screening of Black Panther for them. And so those are the types of things that small businesses can do. These boys came from 240 boys from all over the city of Houston. And they saw Black Panther before everybody else. And, I tell people they had a great time just to be together, right? I spoke life. We had a poet there who spoke life into them. They saw the movie. They got to cut up and have fun together. Just to imagine how much fun you had. And then you're with 240 boys, your peers, and you're just having a good time. They all got T-shirts and some of them won backpacks, but those are the opportunities that I want to be able to create with Africa on My Back and the Brilliant Black Boys Initiative. Yes, we're going to study abroad, and how do we make sure that these boys have lasting impacts?
There we go, guys. So you heard it again, right? You want to support Shannette and Africa on My Back. Check it out. You'll love all the bags, the fanny packs, wallets, clutches. She got it all. Go to www.africaonmyback.com. You get $5 off today with a promo code TSP5OFF. TSP, the number 5 and OFF at africaonmyback.com. Shannette, any last words before we go?
Support AfricaOnMyBack.com and the Brilliant Black Boy Initiative. Find a brilliant Black boy and show him some love today.
All right, guys, there we go. I highly endorse that message. Thank you, Shannette, again for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for watching another Lunch and Learn here with TSP, Traffic, Sales, and Profit. Right, if you're not a member of our Facebook group, make sure you join the most amazing group of purpose-driven entrepreneurs, just like Shannette, right? She's a purpose-driven entrepreneur on the planet here on Facebook. You can find us at Traffic, Sales, and Profit with Lamar Tyler. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you next week with our next Lunch and Learn. Thank you, Shannette. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.